Imagine paying hundreds of extra dollars every single month, only to find out your HOA president was secretly stuffing his own pockets with your money. That's exactly what happened to me. At first, I thought rising fees were just part of neighborhood life, until I uncovered the shocking truth. This isn't just a story about money. It's about lies, corruption, and how one man almost destroyed an entire community, until I exposed him. When I bought my home, I thought moving into a neighborhood with a homeowners association would mean well-kept lawns, a safe environment, and neighbors who looked out for one another. Instead, what I got was a nightmare dressed in khakis and a name tag that read, President of the HOA, Mr. Benson. At first, everything seemed fine. The HOA fees were a little steep, but they covered landscaping, pool maintenance, and security patrols. I figured it was worth the peace of mind. That was until one day, an envelope slid into my mailbox with a bold red stamp across the top, notice of increased dues. The letter claimed that starting next month, my monthly HOA fee would nearly double. The justification: increased community maintenance costs. I was confused. The grass still looked the same, the pool was only open on weekends, and the so-called security guard spent more time scrolling on his phone than patrolling. Where exactly was this extra money going? At the next HOA meeting, I raised my hand to ask about it. Mr. Benson, a short, balding man with an overinflated sense of authority, smirked and said, "Costs go up, that's just life. If you can't afford it, maybe this neighborhood isn't for you." That comment stung. People murmured around the room, but no one spoke up. I looked at the faces of my neighbors, tired, frustrated, but too scared to challenge him. Something wasn't right. My gut told me there was more to this than rising costs. That night, I pulled out every statement I had ever received from the HOA. I went line by line through the budget breakdown. It didn't add up. Landscaping was supposedly eating half the budget, but I knew the landscaping company, run by a friendly man named Julio. When I asked Julio casually the next day how much the HOA paid his crew, he told me the number. My eyes widened. It was less than half of what the HOA claimed in their reports. That was the first crack in the dam. I realized this wasn't just about high fees. Someone was lying. Someone was stealing. And all the signs pointed to Benson. The more I looked into it, the uglier it became. HOA documents showed inflated payments to almost every vendor, landscaping, pool cleaning, even garbage collection. Either everyone in town was secretly ripping us off, or Benson was cooking the books. But how could I prove it? I started small. At the next meeting, I asked if homeowners could see official invoices from contractors. Benson's face tightened. "Those are internal documents," he barked. "Not for public viewing." That was suspicious in itself. So, I went directly to the sources. I visited Julio again and asked if I could get a copy of his invoices. He laughed and handed me one. Sure enough, the invoice was for $2,500 a month. Yet the HOA statement claimed $5,200. I repeated the process with the pool company. Same result. What they charged was way less than what the HOA claimed. Piece by piece, the puzzle came together. Benson was taking the difference, lining his pockets with thousands of dollars each month, stolen straight from homeowners like me. But accusing him without proof could backfire. HOAs had rules, bylaws, and lawyers. I needed airtight evidence. So I dug deeper. I requested HOA financial reports, pretending I was interested in volunteering on the budget committee. Benson didn't suspect me yet, so he handed them over reluctantly. I nearly choked reading through them. Not only were the numbers inflated, but there were mystery expenses listed under vague categories like community improvements and special assessments. Tens of thousands of dollars, gone without explanation. The final straw came when I saw a payment listed to a company called Benson Property Services. I googled it. There was no such business, except for a P.O. box registered under his name. Gotcha. I shared my findings with a few trusted neighbors. They were furious, but also scared. If we go against him, he'll fine us, harass us, maybe even foreclose, one whispered. That was Benson's power, fear. But I was done being afraid. I contacted a lawyer who specialized in HOA fraud. I handed over the invoices, the budget reports, and the shell company evidence. The lawyer's eyes lit up. "You have enough here to bring the whole HOA board down." The plan was set. We wouldn't confront Benson at the next meeting. We'd let him dig his hole deeper. And then, when the time was right, we dropped the hammer. The next HOA meeting was packed. Word had spread that I was going to challenge Benson. Every seat was filled, and people stood in the back with arms crossed, waiting for answers. Benson strutted in, smug as ever, clutching his binder of financials. He started droning on about rising costs and special assessments. That's when I stood up. "Excuse me, Mr. Benson," I said loudly, holding up a folder. "Before you go any further, I think the community deserves to know where their money is really going." The room went silent. I walked to the front and spread out copies of the invoices I had collected. Julio charges $2,500 for landscaping. The HOA claims $5,200. The pool company bills $1,800. The HOA claims $4,000. And then there's this, payments to a company called Benson Property Services, which doesn't exist, except as your personal P.O. box. Gasps filled the room. Benson's face turned red. "This is outrageous. You have no proof," he shouted. That's when my lawyer, who I'd invited to the meeting, stood up from the back. "Actually, we have plenty of proof. Enough to take this matter straight to court for fraud and embezzlement." Neighbors erupted, some cheering, some furious, all demanding answers. Benson tried to regain control, slamming his gavel and yelling, but the board members themselves were already backing away from him. They knew he was finished. Within weeks, Benson was removed as HOA president. The lawyer filed charges, and the district attorney took up the case. Turns out, Benson had stolen nearly $200,000 from the community over 3 years. The best part, the court ordered restitution. Every homeowner got refunds for the inflated fees, and Benson faced jail time. As for me, I was elected to the new HOA board. Our first act was cutting fees back to their original level and hiring an independent auditor to make sure nothing like this ever happened again. The neighborhood finally felt like a community again, safe, fair, and free from corruption. And Benson, he went from ruling the neighborhood like a king to scrubbing floors in county jail. Justice served.